Why don't we kick things off here, Rhonda and team? So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We're really excited to have some awesome guest speakers lined up. We're going to take you through a little bit of reporting on the F&O side with Fabric. So it's a very cool topic. And then that'll be followed up by a session on cybersecurity, which I think is relevant to everybody in the world. So the session's being recorded. As always, we do post the sessions on YouTube afterwards. So we'll make sure that you all have a link. You'll be able to see the slide deck as well as any handouts and so on that might come out of this session. And so the way things work is we're actually going to extend today to 90 minutes. If you can't stay the whole time, not to worry. It's recorded, as I said, and you'll be able to watch it on demand after the fact. Bonding usually takes about a week or so to get it posted up to YouTube, typically. So without further ado, I will pass things over to Liz, our awesome leader with these meetups, and she'll take us through a few things, and then we'll get Ali and team teed up for the first part of the session today. So Liz, thank you for joining today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tanya, for having me.
And thank you for my new shirt. Thank you.
And I was going to say, I love your shirt, Tanya. It's fantastic. Thank you for wearing it today. As Tanya mentioned, my name is Liz Hallen. I am one of the team members here at Dynamics User Group. So welcome to this edition of the D365 Manager and Admin Meetup. Before we get started, it's just a little bit about Dynamics User Group, or DUG, as we like to refer it. We are a free community for users, partners, ISVs that are supporting Dynamics 365, Dynamics GP, or Power Platform. And really our goal and mission here is to provide opportunities for all of you to educate yourselves and network with others in our community and space to really help you grow in your profession. We have over 47,000 worldwide members, and so we're very excited about that. As you're participating in our event today, we just ask that you refrain from sales pitches and recruitment. This really is meant to be a safe space for everybody to educate and talk about the things that are out-of-the-box products with the Microsoft Dynamics and Power Platform. In addition to DUG meetups, which is what you are all joined here today in a virtual way, we do offer several other programs for free as part of your membership. We've got online discussion forums. Tanya mentioned our YouTube channel. We have almost 700 videos of education things there. We offer on-demand webinars that are also free and year-round, as well as our in-person conferences such as DynamicsCon and DynamicsCon regional events. I will talk about our regionals. So our regionals are a little bit larger in scope than a traditional DUG meetup event, but a little smaller than our 3-day large DynamicsCon conference that we hold annually here in the US. These are full-day events. They are free to attend. We offer multiple different products of content and tracks at the same time. You can see our next one is coming up in Toronto, Canada. Very excited about that. And we are going international this year as well. So we will be in Africa as well as Europe, both this summer and coming fall. I don't have a slide on here for our DynamicsCon annual event because we literally just finished it last week in Chicago. But we would love to have all of you join us next year in Las Vegas. We will be at the Fontainebleau. We do have early bird pricing, which is the lowest price you will get. We've got $9.99 right now, so would love to see and hear all of you in Vegas next May. We'll be there the week of May 12th. So with that, I am finished and we'll send it back to Tanya. Yes, hi Mo.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Just a quick question. For the event in Toronto, do we have the name of speakers already published, or do you know when it's going to be out?
We do have some that are published and done right now. Let me send you the link to the registration page with the latest agenda.
Yeah, just because I submitted one session, I think I was wondering if it's not that far, so.
It is not that far. No, it is coming up fast and furiously for sure.
All right, thank you, Liz. That was awesome. And I will say, having just returned from that DynamicsCon session in Chicago, and it was a first time event for me, I was very impressed. It was such a great session, couple of days, and just the sessions were top shelf. The speakers so knowledgeable, like this massive group of MVPs as well in the same room was so phenomenal. And just like being able to network with my peers, meet lots of new people, very friendly bunch of people. Like honestly, it was just such a great experience, and definitely found some new friends and saw some old friends, and finally met people face to face that I've known for years just by going through these meetups and whatnot. So I highly recommend the DynamicsCon. It was exhausting, but it was well worth it. So, excellent. Okay, well, let's turn the page now to Ali and Mo. And Ali, if you want to just share your screen and set up your deck, that would be great. And we'll get started on learning all about F&O reporting and Fabric and all these great things they're going to download their brains to us with.
Perfect. Can you see my screen?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. So Mo, can you also see?
Yeah, sure. You guys hear me well?
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for being here today. So yeah, today Ali and I will do a half an hour presentation, probably 25 minutes. And if there are any questions that we can help you with, definitely that will be the last 5 minutes that we'll allocate to that. So just a very quick introduction on myself, just for you to have a background. I'm Mo. I am a D365 F&O technical architect. I have been in the area for about 8 years. And before that, I was a Dynamics CRM developer / architect. So I know both words, CRM and D365. Ali is my colleague, and we work together in our company. He is more on the data scientist AI side. We have been doing a few projects lately on AI, and mainly we are specialized in Microsoft Fabric, and we have done implementations for a few clients. And today we're going to be just sharing our knowledge about why, when to use Microsoft Fabric, what is Microsoft Fabric, when to use it, and how to make the most out of it. So yeah, as I said, this presentation is about Fabric, but it's kind of with the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations flavor. We are going to be mainly, talk about. We're going to be mainly talking about how you can build reports on top of Dynamics 365 F&O. Again, Fabric is a generic tool. It could be used on top of pretty much any type of data you have. It could be SQL data, it could be F&O data, Dynamics PC, CRM, Excel, whatever, you name it. But as I said, we are going to be focused on the reporting tools that's available in Dynamics 365. We have built some reports for clients, and these are generic ones that every company pretty much has. So we're going to be talking about that, and in the end, the second part is going to be Ali, where he will be talking about all the good technologies that we have. On the Fabric side, what are the implications of using Fabric? What are the ways that you can use it, and so on and so forth. So this slide is actually a very quick overview of what are your reporting options when it comes to the Dynamics 365 F&O. There are a number of them. I mean, no surprise, F&O is a huge ERP system, and as with any other Microsoft products, there are always multiple options that you can use to build the same reports on top of your data. So the first one is the easiest one, I would say, is Power BI Direct Query. Then is Power Platform is another method where you can bring your data from F&O to Power Platform. BYOD is more the old style, the old school type that we were using. Still, there are a lot of companies that are using it. It's not deprecated, but it's the old one. And then finally is the one that we are going to be talking about today, which is the latest, greatest, I would say, for any company of any size. If they want to get their data out of Dynamics 365 F&O without having any performance impact, without being restricted to a specific technology or to be bound to a SQL Server or any other thing, you use Microsoft Fabric. So yeah, that is the best way to get your data out. Generally speaking, there are some caveats that we're going to be talking about. And generally, that's how the flow of data is. So basically, on one side, you have D365 F&O on the left-hand side here. And on the other side, you have your AI and BI use cases or reports that you want to generate on top of that data. The data flows through Dynamics 365 F&O to Power Platform, and then from Power Platform to Synapse or Fabric Link. And then eventually, once the data is in there, you can build your reports. This is a quick overview of, again, it's the same comparison that we did in 2 slides ago. It's a little bit deeper. If you have noticed already, we're talking about Fabric as well as Synapse. These are 2 different technologies. They are actually very similar, but still there are 2 different approaches. They have their own pros and cons. And in this slide, we're showing the differences. Basically, when it comes to creating your Power BI link, you can either go Power BI or SQL Server, which is the BYOD. These are the 2 options you have, which are all, again, the options that we don't recommend to any of our clients. And I don't think if you ever have an implementation, F&O implementation, where you have to define the reporting tool, you want to go use them. The 2 options that we always recommend is the last 2 in this list. One is Azure Synapse, which is the 3rd row, and then the last row, which is Fabric. So these are the 2 that you can use to actually build those reports. Comparison, you can see different things that we have here, the different criteria. I don't want to go too deep into them. If there's anyone who is more interested to know more, for sure, just ping me on the side, or we could use the time that we have for questions to go deeper. So yeah, we can skip this one, Ali. That's fine. So yeah, these are some reports that are available that we have built for clients, and this is a community. So if anyone, if you have D365 F&O and you would like to get some of these reports, we could actually literally just send you the Power BI file. Of course, no charge or no anything. We have built those for our clients, and we can definitely share it with you. Now, how to build that to get to that Power BI, we could always help you with that as well. But yeah, just to give you an idea of what kind of reports you can build on top of Fabric from D365 F&O, these are the reports that we built for multiple clients. For example, this one is more like a sales dashboard, which shows you how much you have sold by customer, and it shows you the top 10 accounts. So if you want to know who is your biggest account and who are actually top 10, you can use this. If you want to know your sales amount by sales director, so if you have different in your sales department, you have different different directors and managing different teams, etc. You could see that. Also, if you have let's say rep agencies, in case of let's say a car dealership, they have multiple. Toyota, they have multiple dealerships, and you want to know which of your sales reps or which of your dealership made the most, revenue for you, then you can, have stuff like that. So this is an order to cash. The next one is very similar. So this is a sales. This is a distribution by the person who actually did the sale for those reports. So if you want to build a report and say who brought me the most sales, you can do this. And then there are some other ones that we are going to skip through them. I only have 5 minutes for this, so I'm going to skip through them. But you can see that in all the key processes that we have in Dynamics, code to cash, post to close, all the financials that you get, you want to have distribution by country and all that, you could get pretty much all the data that you need in Fabric. And then on top of that, you can build all these reports. We can share the slide deck, so if for you, if you want to go deeper into that, but these are basically all the reports that we have built for our clients, and they're pretty common, regardless of the industry. These are the type of reports that we want to build. So that's it from my side. Ali, I think you can take over.
Perfect. Thank you, Mo, for walking us through the BI reports we built on Dynamics 365 data. Now the question is how we actually take this raw data from Dynamics and turn it into these insightful reports. So this is where Microsoft Fabric comes in. In my part of the presentation, I will take you through how we generate these reports in Fabric, or how we ingest the data, and how we finally process it and we make it BI ready. So what is Microsoft Fabric? Microsoft Fabric is an end-to-end analytics platform that kind of integrates multiple data workloads into a single and unified environment. In other words, we can say it simplifies the process of ingesting, storing, processing, and analyzing data all in one place. It's also designed for both data professionals and business users. It enables, let's say, seamless collaboration between data engineers, analysts, and decision makers. And in a high-level view, Fabric brings together different workloads from data engineering, data warehousing to real-time intelligence and BI reporting. All of these are powered by OneLake, a centralized storage layer for all of these workloads. So basically, OneLake is where we store our data in Fabric, and it's built on top of Azure Data Lake Storage, or ADLS. It's where the data is stored in an accessible, scalable, and highly efficient format. So because all the data is stored in one unified location, it can be easily referenced from anywhere within Microsoft Fabric, without the need for complex data movements. And also, another key benefit of OneLake is that it eliminates the data duplication using a feature called shortcuts. So instead of copying data between environments, shortcuts allow different workloads to reference the same data set actually without physically moving it, which at the end of the day improves performance, storage, and collaboration. So now let's focus on how we actually bring in data from Dynamics to Fabric and generate BI reports. The first step is to link Dynamics 365 tables to Fabric. For this, as Mo mentioned, there's a link to Microsoft Fabric feature in Power Platform, which creates direct shortcuts from Dataverse to OneLake in Microsoft Fabric. And therefore, we can say it kind of eliminates the need for any manual ETL pipelines. The advantage actually here is near real-time access without moving, duplicating data, and also it ensures that the refreshed Dynamics 365 data is always available and accessible in Microsoft Fabric for analytics and report generation. I'll now demonstrate how we can establish this link to Fabric through Dataverse. So first of all, we need to make sure that the Power Platform integration is already enabled for our D365 environment. Then starting in Power Apps, for example, from the Tables section, we can navigate to Analyze menu and select the link to Microsoft Fabric. If it is our first time setting this up, we'll be prompted with the message to validate our connection to Fabric. And there we can select an existing Fabric workspace or create a new one if you want. And at this point, after we click on this link to Microsoft Fabric and all goes well, the table shortcuts will be automatically added to Fabric. So we can also navigate to Azure Synapse link in Power Platform. Here, after that we have established the link to Fabric, we can see Microsoft OneLake listed under the available links. And it's where we can get, we can actually find a detailed view of all the link tables, their sync status, last synchronization time, and source. And by source here, I mean, whether they originate from Dataverse or F&O. And we have also a menu, Manage Tables menu, where we can select additional tables from Dataverse or F&O to link to Fabric. And once we have selected the tables, we can click on Refresh Fabric Tables, and the shortcuts for these newly selected tables will be added to Fabric. And there's also an option called View in Microsoft Fabric. By clicking on it, we are taken to Microsoft Fabric environment. We can see the lakehouse that actually contains the shortcuts to our linked tables is already created. And inside the lakehouse, under the tables directory, we can find actually these shortcuts and these linked tables. And once again, it's important to note that these tables are not duplicated in OneLake. They just exist as shortcuts. So they reference the original data which lies in Dynamics 365. So now we have our Dynamics data available in OneLake within Fabric. The next question is, how do we transform this raw data into meaningful business insights? So the raw data from Dynamics 365 tables is not by default business ready, business friendly. The data needs to be processed, cleansed, let's say structured before it becomes ready for BI reporting. This is actually where medallion architecture comes in. So it's basically a 3-layer architecture for structured data transformation and analytics. It's also a well-established data design pattern that helps us logically organize data while improving its structure and quality as we move through each layer. So in the first layer in the medallion architecture is the bronze layer. This is where we store raw unprocessed data exactly as it comes from Dynamics 365. And the goal here is to keep the original data intact because we want to make sure we always have a source of truth. So therefore, there's no transformation, cleaning whatsoever at this stage. It's just pure ingestion. The next is the silver layer. Here, the data is cleansed, enriched, and structured so that it's usable for reporting. Generally, we apply deduplication, validation, standardization, and sometimes even light aggregations in this layer. And finally, we have the gold layer where we create our curated data sets and business level tables that are optimized for BI reporting. In the gold layer, we can say data is structured for the end users so that they can analyze and consume in Power BI or any other reporting tools. And here is the high-level view of how we can possibly implement the medallion architecture in Microsoft Fabric using the raw data coming from Dynamics and the tables linked to Fabric environment. What we're actually using here is a lakehouse warehouse architecture with data flows orchestrated using a data pipeline. And in a nutshell, if I were to explain what a lakehouse and a data warehouse are in Microsoft Fabric, I would say the lakehouse is a storage layer for both structured and unstructured data, while the data warehouse is let's say, a T-SQL-based storage, let's say, optimized for managing the structured delta tables. And I have this diagram as a reference in the following slides so that you'll always have a clear idea of where we are in the medallion architecture as we navigate through different components. So the first component is the bronze lakehouse, which is automatically created when we use the link to Fabric feature in Power Platform to bring Dynamics tables. At this stage, as I mentioned before, the data is stored in its raw form, remains intact as a source of truth for probably auditability and traceability later. Then we have the silver lakehouse. Here we generally use Synapse notebooks to perform data cleaning, deduplication, and normalization to structure the data in a way that it is more efficient for querying and business use. So what typically happens here is the application of joins and filters on the raw data stored in the bronze lakehouse, and then write the transform tables to the silver lakehouse. And then we have the gold warehouse, where our process data from the silver lakehouse is aggregated and optimized into a structured SQL warehouse. At this stage, the data is fully refined and business ready. So the gold layer tables, we can say, are the final polished tables, which are designed specifically for BI reports, dashboards, and any other data analytics. Also, to generate BI reports, as the final step, we need to create a semantic model using the gold layer tables that are relevant to the report that we're going to make. So the semantic model is basically a structured layer that organizes and optimizes the data for Power BI. And you can create data models, relationships, measures, and calculations to make data ready for use in Power BI. Fabric also enables direct lake semantic models, which actually allow Power BI to query data directly from one lake in the Delta Parquet format. And it's very good and very optimized for large volumes of data. So the semantic models can be used to create BI reports at the end. Here you can see an example of a generic report with different visuals and graphs, showcasing sales by geographical location and total orders by sales month, and so on and so forth. So with these reports, what we can do is to build interactive dashboards that provide meaningful insights for later decision making. Perfect. Now that we understand the end-to-end process, the question that remains is what happens when Dynamics 365 tables refresh and get updated? So when new data flows into one lake, we need to ensure that all downstream processes from data ingestion to transformation and to reporting all are also refreshed. So for this, we use scheduled data pipelines to automate and orchestrate these data flows at predefined intervals, or we can schedule these data pipelines to trigger these operations at the scheduled times. So in the context of the medallion architecture, a data pipeline to orchestrate this data flow should actually follow three key stages. The first stage is from bronze to silver. It is where the pipeline can be used to trigger the notebooks to process and transform the raw data in bronze layer into silver layer tables. And the second stage is from silver to gold, where the pipeline can trigger SQL stored procedures to further aggregate and enrich the silver layer tables and create gold tables. And a final stage, which is the semantic model refresh. So once the data is in gold layer, the pipeline triggers a refresh of the corresponding semantic models, and it ensures that the Power BI reports are also updated with the latest data. So this is automatic orchestration of data flow is kind of eliminates the need for manual refreshes. So we can use this to keep our final reports always updated and business ready. So finally, let's take a look at the deployment process. Up to this point, we've seen how Dynamics data can be brought into Fabric and processed through medallion architecture. All this typically happens in a development stage, but once everything is finalized, we need to push it to a testing or a later production stage so that business users can access the reports. There's no need for external CI/CD tools in Microsoft Fabric because it has its own integrated deployment pipeline that offers some handy features. So the deployment pipeline in Fabric actually provides a graphical user interface that makes the deployment more manageable. Here we can define up to 10 stages, and all the items from the source to target stages are displayed together so that we can easily track their status. For example, we can say, okay, if an item has already been deployed or not, or if there are differences between the source and target versions. Also, the deployment pipeline in Microsoft Fabric includes paired item comparisons that allow us to see exactly what has changed between the stages. For example, it can highlight which lines of a notebook have been modified in the sources stage, or shows any kind of discrepancies between the stored procedures in a warehouse across different environments. Also, it offers a deployment history that so that we can track previous deployments and monitor changes over time, somehow to have a better control on the deployment process. Perfect. So to wrap up, in this presentation, we addressed some key questions about how we can generate BI reports and Dynamics data using Microsoft Fabric. We showed that it's possible to bring data from Dynamics 365 into Fabric using the link to Fabric and Power Platform without duplicating the data. We also explored the medallion architecture, which kind of helps us to progressively refine raw data into structured, business-ready insights. And also we saw how we can orchestrate the data flow and this end-to-end data processing using data pipelines. And finally, after development, we looked at the integrated deployment pipelines in Fabric to publish reports from development or testing stages to the production. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for your attention. I'll now hand it over to Mo to conclude the presentation.
I think thank you for that, Ali. If you can hear me okay. I know Mo said he was experiencing internet connectivity issues. So I think
Okay.
he's had to drop. He was going to reconnect.
Oh, okay, it's not here. Just
But
sorry.
it might just be that you I don't know, wrap up there, or you continue on a little bit more. I don't know how we are for time, Tanya.
Actually, I just wanted to thank you all for your time and your attendance. So if you have any questions regarding the presentation, I would be glad to answer.
I have one actually, Ali, and you
Yeah.
might have said it and it might have just gone right through. For just to connect to Fabric from the Dataverse, I think you need a premium Power BI subscription. Is that accurate?
Uh,
From a
Premium
licensing
Power BI
perspective?
subscription. To be honest, I'm not sure of that because every time, if it is your first time doing that, Microsoft Fabric will always grant you a 60-day trial.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And to be honest, I'm not sure if you actually need that Power BI premium license.
So the only reason I say it is because I was trying to follow along with you in my environment, and I
Okay.
got stopped at trying to do the connection to the to Fabric, and I just put a screenshot in there. And maybe
Okay.
it's just my setup, Ali. I just wanted to ask you if you had any further. So my message back was I need a Power BI premium license to continue from that analyzed menu that you pulled up. So again, that's just my experience. I don't know if this is everybody else's experience, but I just wanted to check with you. So. Okay.
Yeah, so to be honest, I don't have the, the precise answer to that because, I've never faced that issue before. We've already had
You're the keys to the kingdom, and I do not.
But probably, yes, I can check and let you know.
That's okay. I think it's okay, but that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Any other questions today? Okay, well, that was really great. That's the primer I needed to understand just how to get started. So, Ali, that was really great. And I know my limits too. So, all right. Well, much appreciated. And are you going to hang around for a little bit longer in case questions start to ruminate?
Yeah, I can till 1 p.m. Eastern time, maybe.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, awesome. Okay, well, let's turn the table here and we'll I'm going to just get your slides teed up here, Neil, and welcome to you as well this afternoon. Thank you. If you could just bring yourself off of mute, we'll get started. So over to you, Neil.
Thanks all for joining this month's Doug meetup. It's an honor to be speaking to you about cybersecurity and some of the factors that are constantly evolving in the world of cybersecurity.
Sorry, I'm coming. I swear it's coming. There we go. Okay.
All right, so who's vulnerable? You're probably hearing a lot about this in the news lately, talking about financial institutions being hacked and a lot of information being stolen. You're probably getting letters in the mail talk about your personal information has been exposed on the dark web. In most cases, that is very true. And the reason why you're hearing about that is these industries are heavily regulated and are required by law to notify their client bases. But they're not the only businesses that are also afflicted by cybersecurity attacks. A lot of organizations that have PII or intellectual property can be under attack as well. There's been some manufacturing companies, there's been FedEx. A few years ago, there was a Colonial Pipeline attack that basically stopped the flow of oil and gas in one of my areas. Actually, I live in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we have a major Colonial Pipeline hub here, and so they were not able to ship any gas. I mean, I think our gas got up to, I don't know where you are in the world, but when we hit about $5 a gallon, that's pretty high for our area. I'm sure Canada, UK, all international people out there are probably paying a little bit more than that. But yeah, when it hits about $5 a gallon, people start paying attention. So so that was a form. And if you kind of look back and see what the remediation or what the recommendations were, there was actually a terminal that was hadn't had their password changed. These are things that companies should be watching out for. So other types of attacks, phishing and social engineering attack. I'm pretty sure that's I'd say probably about 80% to 90% of you all that are in the audience today have some form of social media account. If you're actually watching this on the YouTube channel, you've got a social media account right there. I mean, it's keeping tabs of what videos you're watching and so on. So, when you're looking at those kind of attacks, you could be clicking on a link that could be a malicious link that might be pretending to be YouTube, or it could be pretending to be your bank. So those are forms of social media attack or social engineering attacks. And then the biggest concern is the insider threat. There's massive amounts of turnover every day. They say that the average person stays with a company about 2 to 4 years. Not saying that that you should constantly switch jobs or anything like that. I'm a firm believer that if you are working in a position and you're happy with that position, stay in the position. But there are forms of insider threats. Some of the factors involved in insider threats are financial background checks. I mean, for example, you may have an employee that's been working for an organization for 20 years, and all of a sudden something financially has changed in their world, and they might be looking for some extra cash. And so people that are having some form of hardship are also vulnerable to types of attacks that could expose your business.
Next slide.
Yep, please. So talking about these kind of attacks, what are we talking about? What are the financial numbers that we're talking about? So I mean, I've kind of put over here the 65,000 or 65% of financial institutes were targeted by ransomware in 2024. But when we're talking about real numbers, we're talking about some massive numbers. I mean, we're not talking the billions anymore. We're talking about the trillions. Globally in 2023, there were $8 trillion of funds stolen. And it's constantly increasing every year. As you can see, this the statistics that I'm showing here from Statistician, that's at 65% right now. But back when in 2021, it was at 34%, and that continues to grow. One of the presentations I did most recently was looking at some information about what Canada has lost alone by itself, and it's the second largest country in landmass, but it does have a small population. But when you look at it, it's still $648 million in 2024. That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So what can you do? So organizations really need to focus on the people, processes, and technology. You can't have one without the other. If you have people, you have to have processes for those people. If you have technology, you have to have processes, and you have to have people that know how to use that technology as well. So what do we need to do? From the people side, we need to make sure we train people. We need to make sure that they are our first line of defense. You can put the best technology out there, but there's still vulnerabilities because there's constantly new forms of attacks. And technology doesn't have the ability to, as much advancements there is with AI, technology just can't read empathy as well. And so when we're talking about first line of defense, you need to be able to have people that can verify information. Something that people get is a gut feeling. So we want to make sure that we train our people to listen to that gut feeling if something doesn't feel right, even if it does slow down the process. It's better to slow down a process than to lose thousands to millions of dollars in a transaction. So how do we train these people? Well, phishing campaigns and spam awareness training, show people how to be aware of what to look out for in an email, particularly if you hover over a link, it will tell you where that link is going to. Sometimes if you've got your technology stack updated, if you've got a really strong security team with you, they'll put some filters out there, and it'll be able to notify you if there's something erroneous, or it'll go through a protect.microsoft.com functionality, or a proof point type. not sponsoring any or endorsing any of the technologies I just mentioned, but there are technologies out there that can help prevent these forms of attacks. Also, the biggest part is creating that culture inside your organization that is more proactive rather than retaliatory. What I mean by that is I've been in organizations and I've actually been a head of technology for an organization where we felt like, we need to inform the users, we need to tell them what not to do. But the thing is that if you tell them what not to do and they do it, and there's some form of retaliatory and not consciously retaliatory awareness, but what happens is people get afraid. And you need to create a culture that allows people to be open about, like, hey, I made a mistake. This is what I did. And we just need to make everybody else aware that not to do the same mistake. So, when we're talking about this, make sure that, when you create these policies and procedures, that you're not, pointing out people and using them as an example. Verify processes. Many organizations have obsolete processes or non-written processes, and it's probably, I don't know, I came from a small business background, and there were a lot of processes that were just in people's heads. And so we just need to make sure that these processes are up to date, documented, and verified on a yearly basis. One of those ways that we did in my previous organization is running a disaster recovery test and business continuity process. And through that process, we were able to identify things just that didn't make any sense anymore. So, for example, if somebody is doing a digital process to fill out forms, and in their old process, they would keep a printed out copy of that document instead of storing it into a file or into a digital format. Why are we still storing that physical hard copy of that document? There are some cases that you need to keep it, but it's better to ask the question of why we're doing it this way and improve that process to where it's a digital thing rather than actually a hard copy. Is there a verification and oversight for the processes? I don't know how many organizations, as I mentioned, that there have been cases where processes are not documented. Are you verifying that that process still needs to exist, or are you verifying that that is a correct process? Or is it missing? Or when that person left the organization, is somebody else taking over that responsibility? Those are very important key things. Most organizations do not allow you to write a check to somebody and also be the signator on the check. So you need to have a process in place that does have a verification or oversight for processes. How do you monitor these processes? There are many ways that you can do that. You can do that through technology. You can do that through the process oversight processes themselves. And some of this technology that you can do is, for example, again, not endorsing this product, but Microsoft Purview. Microsoft Purview will allow you to see the different types of login credentials and see what users are doing behind the scenes. As we've got listed here, here's some technologies that can even protect your endpoints. Microsoft Defender for Endpoint is a great product that can feed into Microsoft Sentinel, which is a product that allows you to see from an overview of your entire technology stack. As long as a product has a log, Sentinel can absorb that information into it and identify any threats. Entra ID, formerly known as Azure Active Directory, allows you to create logins for people, can create policies where passwords need to be changed often. Another factor that Entra ID allows you is multi-factor authentication. And I will go ahead and say this, and I fully believe in this, if you do not have multi-factor authentication turned on, you need to turn it on. It doesn't matter what type of business you are, you need to have multi-factor authentication on. And then finally, Microsoft Purview. Microsoft Purview allows you to monitor that all these different products for any insider threats or any risk management. It's a great legal tool. If you've got a legal question that comes up, I recommend your legal team work with the IT group to review Purview.
Good notes.
So what's the call to action? This is what I'm hoping that you're taking away from this conversation is that cybersecurity is very important. Like I mentioned, everybody should be practicing it. You should personally be practicing it. Anytime I post any pictures of my children on the internet, I'm concerned, hey, how is this going to be potentially used in a very negative fashion? And so we try to protect our information. My wife and I do. So same thing for businesses. You may not have the security team, or you might be such a small business that you're wearing many hats. Well, my recommendation to you is, even no matter how small you are, you should definitely always outsource your weaknesses. And one of those weaknesses is security. You should look at MSPs in the area. MSP stands for Managed Service Providers. Also, an MSSP, a Managed Security Service Provider, can help you identify those kind of threats. And many of these companies have various models that they can provide you with the security expertise. You may not need the full stack of security or the needs of that organization that they can provide, but it's a good start, because if you don't start thinking about that right now, as you grow, it's going to be the very last thing you're going to be thinking about. Proactive stance. As I mentioned, don't wait for an event to happen. Don't wait for that earthquake to happen or that major threat to happen. Start thinking about what's the worst thing that could happen to your organization today, and then manage your risk. Educate your clients. Even if you're working in a small manufacturing firm and you're passing data back and forth to your clients, you want to make sure that that information is secured. For example, credit card numbers. We should not be emailing credit card numbers over email. Email is a very insecure method and way of doing it. Make sure that your intranet portal, if you have one, if you're an e-commerce business, has all the security certificates available for it. And then also make sure you have cyber insurance. There are many firms out there insurance firms that can help you out with that. And they will want to do an assessment as well of your technology stack, just to make sure that you have everything in place to make sure that they can provide you the best premiums possible.
Well, that's awesome, Neil. Thank you very much. I just wanted to comment one thing on the proactive stance, and it aligns to the very, very timely topic today of Power BI, for instance, is there are easy ways to build a mechanism to review what your users have from security permissions, for instance, and who can do what, who's downloading what, who's deleting what. You can use your Dataverse data in a Power BI dashboard for maintenance and monitoring. Relatively easy to set up. We can certainly help with that, of course, but a lot of our clients, as Neil said, we're trying to get them to be very proactive in just monitoring just their users in the CRM, for instance, because that's our wheelhouse, is just Dynamics CRM. So we're trying to educate our clients on using tools like Power BI connected to your CRM instance to be very proactive and just monitoring when a new user gets set up. Make sure they have some audit on their security rules. Make sure you're auditing what their permissions are. And if you do have staff that, for instance, can download data, that's a big one that you want to really be monitoring, who can download data from your instance of CRM. So building out Power BI reports that you can house and host in your CRM, outside of your CRM, to give you that proactive aspect of just, having eyeballs and having action inside of there. Because one thing that I have seen time and time and time again is it's very easy to give somebody permissions, and oftentimes it's, I need to give somebody a system administrator role. Well, system administrator role comes with a lot of power, comes with permissions to do everything. And people might not equate that with functionality that they're giving if they just give them a role based on a name. And we have received many, I call them 911 calls. Somebody accidentally deleted an entire, hierarchy of data. And it's very easy to do it. It's very easy to be inside of a solution, think that you're clicking an X that is to close a window, but they don't take a second to see, oh, I'm going to delete something. And maybe they think they're just deleting the one record. And it's really easy to delete something and not know that under the hood, you're taking the entire stack of data underneath it, not knowing what you're doing. So that's when we get those 911 calls. And so that's when we really remind clients that you can actually be proactive in this, use these Power BI tools and reports to see what you have, create yourself a little Power Automate alert to say somebody's doing something here. So there are ways to mitigate that specifically within the Dynamics space and using the tools. And this is the whole power of the Microsoft network and the infrastructure and the ecosystem is these tools are going to connect to your whatever data that you need. So that's one of the reasons I love this whole Microsoft platform is just that ecosystem just is really tight. And take advantage of it. And if you don't know where to start, then reach out to one of us. We're more than happy to help on that concept. But I think this was really, really helpful, Neil, and sort of just kind of jog everyone's memories of what's important to do. And it's never a one and done. That's the key takeaway here. It's never one and done. This has got to be very proactively tested and pushed to make sure that there are no backdoors. And it's hard to get perfection, but at least you have the drills that you're going through to say, if something happens, we're not in a panic. We actually have our stated protocols of how to fix something or how to at least, document what our outcomes were, because you're going to get audited, right? And you're going to have to prove that you took the time to do this stuff. And if you don't feel equipped, I like that your point there is to get some help from the community, like MSPs or MSSPs. Those are really critical people to have in your ecosystem to help protect the very important data that you have as a company. So thank you, Neil. That was really, really helpful. So excellent. So we finished in record time. So I'm very happy to see that we got through all of the content and appreciate everybody coming today and the presenters. Thank you. You did an awesome job. I know we lost Ali and Mo there, but they were so helpful. I love hearing more about the ecosystem, and Fabric is such a timely topic in my space for sure. People just dying to know more about Fabric and understand just the power of what Fabric can bring to the equation. And I know our team is heads down on learning about it and building out solutions in Fabric as well. So I love these topics today. So thank you everybody for your time, your expertise. And if anybody has any questions, please do let us know. As I mentioned at the top, we will post this in YouTube. And then Vonda just posted our June meetup. So that will be the last one before we go on hiatus for the summer. We will be updating the content of that one. But, please spend some time learning. This is helpful for everybody in the ecosystem, and joining meetups with Dynamics user group. This is a fantastic way to keep the wheels turning. You hear different things all the time, and these little nuggets. I'm just so impressed with the little nuggets that come out, and I'm like, I gotta look at that one too. So we try to bring up a roster of great speakers. We always look for new speakers. I've actually corralled Kyle to do something in the fall. So we're building out our fall roster very soon. So thanks again, everybody. Anybody else have any parting words before we wrap up?
Just to add that, I've also put the feedback form. I know there are not too many of us today, but it's sort of how we usually wrap up our sessions. We always offer a feedback form. We'd love to hear from you, things that you'd like us to see cover. I think for June, Tanya, we've got some thoughts around XRM Toolbox.
Yes, thank you.
roundtable.
Yeah, thank you, Rhonda. Yeah, so we're gonna have a few people go head to head on their favorite XRM toolbox tools. So it's gonna be like a cage fight. So a friendly cage fight. So yeah, we're gonna do a few things about just using this third-party solution, this community build solution called XRM Toolbox. There's some fantastic tools that we regularly use, and we've got a few people going to come in and talk about what tools they use, and it's a great opportunity to hear about some tools that you might not be aware of. So please join us in June for that session, and I guess that's a wrap. We did it in record time. So thank you everybody for coming today and spending your lunchtime. All right, well, take care, everybody. We'll see you in June.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
Bye now.